and welcome back to Beyond the A-League. I'm your host, Aaron Beggs, and today we've got a jam-packed episode covering all the action from round 1 of the NPL Victoria season, plus a preview of round 2. And to top it all off, we're going to take a deep dive into the history of one of Victoria's most iconic clubs, the Melbourne Knights Football Club. So let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into the round 1 action. The season opener gave us everything we could have asked for: drama, controversy and top quality football. Melbourne Knights and Heidelberg United went head to head in a thrilling 3-2 contest. The Knights took the early 2-0 lead thanks to Kieran Bramwell's brace, but Heidelberg hit back through Anthony Lesiotis with an absolute screamer from 35 metres out. It was all square after Mark Bassetto's equaliser, but Josh Carrance had the final say, following home the winner for the Knights. And just when we thought we had a dramatic finish, Bull Jurach thought he'd stolen a point for Heidelberg, only to be ruled offside. What a game for the first game of the season. Moving on to the second game of the season, which was South Melbourne kicked off their campaign with a hard-fought 1-0 win over fellow Melbourne side Port Melbourne. The match took a sharp turn when Port's Nathan Dibb saw red in the 18th minute. South took full advantage with Max Mikolo scoring the only goal of the game, a solid start for the reigning premiers. Avondale versus Oakley was next on the board, and Avondale left it late but found a hero in Kalulu Kamara. His towering header in the 93rd minute secured a 2-1 win over Oakley Cannons. New Boys Preston Lions took on Hume City, and after 15 years away, the Preston Lions marked their return to NPL Victoria with a thrilling 2-1 win over Hume City. A packed BT Connor reserve erupted as Jason Romero's brilliance helped secure the win. What a comeback there for the Lions. Dandenong Thunder took on Green Gully, and Dandenong wasted no time in making an impact. Captain Ali Suleimani struck in just the 6th minute. A late winner from Hassan Joh sealed the 2-1 victory over Green Gully. Dandenong City took on St Albans. The Croatian derby lived up to the hype. A wild 3-3 draw saw both teams trade blows. Will Bauer and Joey Monek starred in a game that had everything. A derby classic there for round 1. Coming up to the final game of round 1 was Melbourne Victory versus Altona Magic. A physical battle at the home of the Matildas ended in a 1-1 draw between the Victory and the Magic. 7 yellow cards in this one, a sign of how tense it was during this game. What a first round we had. Now let's look at my picks, which again mean absolutely effing nothing from round 1. And I didn't go that well in round 1. Bit like my NPL New South Wales picks. I picked Heidelberg, South Melbourne, Oakley, Preston, Green Gully, Dandenong City and Melbourne Victory. So I got 2 wins in that one. It's South Melbourne and Preston. Hopefully better for round 2. Speaking of round 2, on Friday we have 4 games in the NPL Victoria competition. Green Gully versus Oakley Cannons at Green Gully Reserve. Heidelberg United versus Melbourne Victory at Olympic Village. Dandenong City versus Preston Lions at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex. And Hume City take on the Dandenong Thunder at Naseol Stadium. Moving on to Saturday's games. Avondale versus Port Melbourne Sharks at Avenger Park, and Altona Magic take on St Albans at Paisley Park. No games on Sunday, so we'll go straight to Monday, where we have a barn burner of a game, and that is South Melbourne versus the Melbourne Knights at Lakeside Stadium. My picks for round 2 are Oakley Cannons, Heidelberg United, Preston Lions, Hume City, Avondale, Altona Magic, and South Melbourne. Again, take it for what it's worth, people. Means nothing. So that's all for the NPL wrap for the NPL Victoria this week. Now on to part 2 of the episode, and that's a look at the history of the Melbourne Knights Football Club. We'll be back after the break. And welcome back to part 2 of the episode. And today I'm going to continue my series of history of clubs from each NPL competition. Today, since we're doing NPL Victoria, I'm going to talk about one of Australia's most iconic clubs, and that is the Melbourne Knights Football Club. Melbourne Knights FC was founded in 1953 by Croatian immigrants in Melbourne, originally under the name of Croatia Soccer Club. The club was established to provide a connection to their homeland through football, quickly becoming a cultural and sporting institution for the local Croatian community. Playing in local competitions, the team rapidly progressed through the Victorian leagues, demonstrating a strong footballing culture and a commitment to excellence. By the late 1960s and early 1970s, Melbourne Croatia, as it was then known, had established itself as one of Victoria's top football clubs. The club consistently performed well in the Victorian State League, winning multiple championships and earning a reputation as a powerhouse. This period saw Melbourne Croatia develop talented local players and attract Croatian-born stars, reinforcing its identity as a community-driven football club. When the NSL, or National Soccer League, was founded in 1977 as Australia's first national football competition, Melbourne Croatia was one of the key teams pushing for national recognition. The club officially joined the NSL in 1984, marking the start of an era that would define its legacy. Despite initial struggles, the club rebranded as Melbourne Knights in 1993 due to the FFA regulations limiting ethnic-based names, which was a joke, become a dominant force in Australian football. The mid-1990s was the club's golden era, led by legendary coach Mirko Basic and featuring future Socceroos stars such as Mark Viduka, Steve Horvat and Joseph Spiteri. Melbourne Knights won back-to-back NSL championships in 1994-95 and 95-96, cementing their place as one of the strongest teams in Australian football history. Mark Viduka, who would later play in Europe's top leagues, was a standout player, winning the Johnny Warren Medal for Best NSL Player in 94 and 95. The club's attacking style and passionate fan base made them one of the most respected teams in the competition. Following the collapse of the NSL in 2004, Melbourne Knights was not included in the newly formed A-League, which focused on a franchise model rather than the ethnic-based clubs. Instead, the Knights transitioned to the Victorian Premier League, later known as the NPL Victoria. Despite no longer competing in Australia's top-tier competition, the club has remained a competitive force in the NPL, continuing its tradition of developing young talent. The club also plays a key role in maintaining the Croatian-Australian football culture, with strong community support and a dedicated fan base. Melbourne Knights Football Club has produced some of Australia's greatest footballers, many of whom have gone on to successful professional careers, both domestically and internationally. Some of the most notable names include Mark Viduka, Josip Simanic, Steve Horvat and Adrian Zara. The Melbourne Knights' identity remains deeply tied to the Croatian community here in Australia. The home ground Knights Stadium is a fortress where passionate fans create an electric atmosphere. The club's red, white and blue colours, along with the checkered crest, proudly reflect their Croatian heritage. The club's supporters, known as the Knights Army, are among the most vocal and dedicated in the Australian football, bringing an intense and passionate presence to matches. Despite not being in the A-League, Melbourne Knights continue to push for recognition at the highest levels of Australian football. With a commitment to developing young players, maintaining its strong footballing culture and competing at the highest possible level, Melbourne Knights FC remains one of Australia's most historic and influential football clubs. In conclusion, Melbourne Knights FC has played a crucial role in the history of Australian football, from its roots as a Croatian community club to its dominance in the NSL and continued impact in the NPL. The club has left a lasting legacy with a proud history and a determined vision for the future. Melbourne Knights continues to be a cornerstone of Australian footballing culture. Now, after reading what I had wrote there for Melbourne Knights, there's a little bit of news that has come out from Football Australia over the last coming days. And if you follow the NPL and you follow the A-League, and everyone asks about why isn't there a second division? And if you'd like, go back to my other podcast on the breakdown with Aaron Beggs, and I think it's episode 2, I talk about my way of how I would do a second division, and how I would do it more like a American style division and have different conferences, which you could have. I might read it on here one day and do it on the video. But Football Australia is coming out with a national competition or national championships, which is 8 teams and then 8 other teams going to go in as in like a Champions League format. Which is essentially what they had a couple of years ago anyway, when they had the national NPL, National Premier League's championship, where the winner of each each NPL competition played off against each other in a knockout, and the 2 finals played in a one-off game. And they got rid of that. I don't know what year. I think it was 2020 when COVID hit. I'm pretty sure it was. But I don't know. I don't know if this is the way to go. I don't think anyone wants this kind of competition. I don't think it's going to work. It's 8 teams that are guaranteed to be in it all the time, which just seems like you're appealing to 8 teams. Why couldn't you have those 8 teams and then have another 8 teams, like, and fork out some coin and get those teams to travel from Western Australia and South Australia and fork out some money. I know you probably got none, but fork out some money and have a proper Division 2. That's just my thought. But let me know how you think it's going to go. I don't think it's going to go any good at all. But they're going to try it, and I'm all for it. If it creates a second division, that's all well and good. But the way Football Australia work, it's going to be years until the second division, and I don't think FIFA really. I think that was the whole point. If the A-League lost it, we're going to lose their licence. They need to bring in a second division, and I don't see this as being a second division. I see this as a borderline, not another cup competition at the end of the season when players are already playing 20 to 24, 20 games or whatever a season, and they're knackered, and we're just piling on to try to make more money. And I understand making money, but there's no benefit to winning this competition. You don't go, yep, congratulations, you get to go to the A-League and watch Brisbane Roar or Perth Glory drop down from the A-League. That's not going to happen. Even though I think half of these teams in this NPL division competitions around Australia could probably beat the Brisbane Roar or Perth Glory. Let's be brutally honest. I could probably see South Melbourne, the aforementioned Melbourne Knights, Marconi, Sydney Olympic beat a Brisbane Roar. They're not the best team in the competition. They're coming last for a reason. But anyway, that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. How would you do a second division if you could? Yeah, if you want to let me know. Let me know on the socials about what you would do with a new second division and what teams you would put in that second division. And anyway, that's it for the episode of Beyond the A-League NPL Victoria episode. Let me know in the comments who was your standout player from round 1 and what are your predictions for round 2. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'll see you probably tomorrow with a look at the Northern New South Wales Premier League competition, which starts off on Friday, and the round 4 action of the NPL Night Series WA. And hit me up on Facebook at Beyond the A-League. Cheers, and as always, be kind to each other. See you later.